at 150 k's out of Birdsville to the east is a small town called Batoula. It's not even really a town. It's just a one stop. There was a guy that lived out here. He was the one and only resident. People would come out here, pick up fuel and get mechanical supplies. This guy was a grader driver from years ago. And in '96 he was diagnosed with cancer and went to Brisbane for treatment, and he never came back. The place has been abandoned ever since.
I had heard about the town of Batoula years ago, but to me it almost seemed a myth. You see, this little town was one of the 180 ghost towns of Australia, and like them, it simply vanished into history. Each ghost town in Australia has its own unique story of how its streets became silent, and Batoula has its own unique story. Years ago, a grader driver working the east-west line between Brisbane and Birdsville saw this place in its original form that consisted of nothing more than a stop for stockmen to have a drink and rest their horses. Batoula was first surveyed in 1887, and the hotel that's made of sandstone was built in the late 1880s, making it at least 135 years old. By 1895, Batoula became something of an outlaw town, as the building of the rabbit-proof fence across Australia drew many undesirable characters here. So a police station and courthouse was built, but then it soon closed when no arrests were made in 5 years. Now let's fast forward to 1953, when a grader driver called Sigmund Remienko, better known as Simon, bought the hotel and did it up with a workshop for his machinery, and that attracted tourists drawn to Australia's smallest town. Simon, with his contacts in the transport industry, began to order in building supplies and expanded his area, building a workshop, a restaurant, and then some accommodation. Pretty soon, tourists flocked to this small town to see the unique spot on Australia's map. Within a few short years, small but humble homes began to pop up around the hotel, and a small community was born and thriving.
And as you can see here where the main bar area is, there's the bench there where people would get themselves served. Everything is still here. They've literally just walked out and locked the doors behind them. It's amazing.
In 1996, Simon became ill and went to Brisbane for a checkup, only to learn that he had inoperable cancer. So he returned and closed the doors to his hotel, boarded up the windows and locked the gates. He never returned, and within a few short months, every resident living in Batoula also moved out, as the supplies and support to this little town revolved around Simon.
It's an eerie place to walk around and have a look at. It's eerie, but it's also beautiful, and curiosity has got the better of us, and we're looking around. We were all just discussing before, I wonder what this pub would have been like in its heyday.
Now, the small ghost town of Batoula has a closed pub, a dormant workshop, and a number of empty homes. All that remains now is the silence. The Arrowbury Highway was by far the best maintained outback road that we had seen on our adventure ride. Not only was it safe, but it was full of spectacular scenery and wildlife. It truly caters for every traveller's needs. And as you can see on this morning, I was the lead rider, and by chance I had my camera running when I spotted an emu running across the road. So it was time for me to do another David Attenborough impression as I got up close and personal with these strange looking birds.
I am running with the emus, and they are fantastic. Look at these magnificent creatures. I'm good to go to that right now. These magnificent creatures can plot up to 50 miles an hour, and I am following them, and they are truly beautiful. Look at that. Outstanding. And Mum shows the big rabbit going on safari. You still on top? Wasn't that magnificent? Wasn't that magnificent?
7 kilometres out of Birdsville, and Chris ran out of fuel. The crew had put their faith in me to provide them with the most basic information, like how many litres do these bikes carry in fuel. But we drained some of the little fuel that we had left in our bikes, and Chris rode on, and we finally got to Birdsville. Once safe in Birdsville, we got busy fixing the trailer of doom. We had heard about a local mechanic called Barnsey, and he was something of a legend out here. He was someone who had anything that a traveller would need mechanically on stock.
Well, we're at Birdsville. As you know, the trailer lost a spring further down the track. It's really concerning me because I don't want the other one to let go and then the trailer suddenly head off in one direction while it's still connected to the car and cause God knows what sort of damage. But guess what? We have springs. Happy days. We shall fix it. We can fix it.
Everyone pitched in to put the new heavy-duty springs back on. Then we rewarded ourselves with something unique to the township of Birdsville, a camel pie.
One of the things you have to try when you're out here in Birdsville, you've got to try one of their famous camel pies. And Christopher over here is about to get one. Samantha's already started eating hers. I actually wanted to film you guys so people can see what it's like to eat a camel pie with only the finest camel put in there. I've never tried it myself, but I'm going to give it a shot. And your verdict, Chris?
Yeah, we should eat more camel.
More camel?
Yep.
Davo, you've only eaten part of the pastry there, so come on, mate.
Had a bit of a chew.
Come on, mate, get into it.
Someone who's not into curries.
Don't make me tell the...
Mild, it's smooth, it's camelicious.
Oh. Verdict? Good. Samantha over here has had her second one today. Yeah, Dad. Oh, it's all over already.
It took too long, George.
Yes,
It took too long. It was beautiful. It's delicious.
Now, Phil over here did not have a camel pie because it's run out, apparently. I just offered him mine, but he didn't want it. What did you eat instead, mate?
Kangaroo and claret.
How was that, mate? Was it good?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Did it taste like chicken? Because everyone says
Mate, I just closed my eyes and I imagined it to be camel, so...
Yeah, good on you, mate. Well done.
In 2 hours, the trailer of doom was not only fixed, but fully packed as we prepared now for the Simpson Desert. Other curious riders who were veterans of the Simpson Desert gave us some handy advice on taking on Big Red, the giant sand dune that we hoped to conquer. Well, I wasn't interested in conquering it. I was happy to never see another sand dune underneath my motorbike ever again. The Simpson, named after industrialist Alfred Allen Simpson, covers over 176,000 square kilometres and crosses the Northern Territory, Queensland and South Australia. The Simpson sits on the Great Artesian Basin, and water from the basin rises up and surfaces in numerous natural springs, making the Simpson very unique. The sand dunes are the longest in the world, and they can reach heights of 40 metres. Today, we find ourselves at the foot of Big Red, a monster sand dune. Big Red is renowned for zapping power out of anything that wants to climb it, so the challenge is to make it up there in one go, without stopping momentum, to claim the victory over Big Red. And Dave has been waiting for this day for years.
About to get serious now. We've got to lock the hubs in so we can get the four-wheel drive up over that sand hill.
Now, only because I insisted on a trial run, Dave agreed to drive up Little Red as it's known, as it's only a fraction of the steep incline that Big Red is, and he got up there with ease. So far, so good. The trial run was a success, and if he maintained the same consistent momentum up Big Red, he'll be fine. Momentum is everything, and when Dave suddenly stopped while backing down the hill to avoid colliding with one of the riders, his car became bogged.
Okay, we have a problem. When I say move that bike, get the fucking thing out of the way. I need momentum. I've lost momentum. I need to get some speed to friend. I've lost my friend. I'm letting the tyres down a bit so I have more surface area on the tyre so I can spread over, but trouble is momentum. We lost momentum because Phil's bike was in the way. I needed the momentum to come down into a good position.
Yeah.
And I had to stop. And speed and momentum is what you need in sand, and we lost it.
Do you feel that we have the ability to get out, or are we stuck here?
We may have to unhitch the trailer.
Okay. If you know defence guys, you'll know this. The more serious the situation, the more we rub it in and stir the pot. And I wasn't going to let Dave off without a good stir.
Dave seems to be very quiet and focused on what he's doing. He's not showing it, but we can tell he's terribly stressed because his vehicle may have to be abandoned. I made that up. I made that up, okay? I did that for drama, okay? I did that for drama, as if he's going to abandon his vehicle. He'd sooner abandon this thing over here. That's what he'd do.
In no time the car was free, and then we were off to take on Big Red. This was going to be a lot of fun.
This is all very exciting. Dave's about to go up Big Red.
Now keep in mind that the rules are simple. Get to the top of Big Red in any vehicle you want, but you must do it without stopping. It's so much harder than it sounds, and Dave was about to find out how true that is.
Well, that first attempt wasn't as good as what I thought it would be. So Dave's going to give it another shot now, it appears. So we'll see how we go.
Dave's second attempt starts with plenty of speed and almost looks promising as he heads up the incline. But the camera doesn't lie, and here you see exactly why Big Red has a reputation of being such a difficult sand dune to cross.
So Dave has decided to unload some of the stuff in the back of the vehicle. That may actually work against him because he probably needs a bit of weight in the wheels to push himself through here. I don't know, I'm not a four-wheel driver. Hell, I'm not even a motorbike driver, but I got this far, I suppose.
Dave's unloaded a few items from the recovery vehicle for his third go, and once again he shoots for the top, this time carefully following his previous tracks in hopes of being able to find better traction. However, once again Big Red brings his efforts to a stop, and his frustration is now growing.
Well, there you go. Big Red is living up to its reputation that it very quickly zaps momentum over any engine that's trying to climb it.
It looks like Dave's even getting stuck going down the sand dune.
Well, as the sun's coming down, young fella's told us he would like to attempt Big Red on his motorbike. So Dave's going to have a go first, followed by Phil.
It's Dave's fourth attempt, and with all the bulk water containers out, the vehicle almost glides up Big Red, and this time he looks like he's actually going to make it. But mistaking the small ridge in front of him for the top of Big Red, Dave stops the car, only to look to his right and realise he's not at the top, and that frustrates him all the more. Phil is about to attempt his first full throttle dash to be the first to make it to the top of Big Red out of our team. Somehow we all just knew that Phil would make it up there with ease. But to our surprise, his bike was no match for Big Red. It's round 5 for Dave as the sun begins to set, and knowing that his window of opportunity to defeat Big Red is closing, Dave makes one final attempt to get to the top, vowing to give up if he fails this one last time. What an effort! Dave has conquered Big Red, and he should be proud. Phil is having one last go before dusk, and this time he rides way out into the distance to give himself a huge run up, so speed is on his side. But again, Big Red stops him in his tracks, and Phil is forced to stop due to the setting sun.
And so the day has ended on a happy note. Dave finally conquered Big Red. Phil tried, at least he gave it a go. And as for me, I'm just taking it easy. This place is beautiful.
How lucky are we? How blessed are we to call Australia home? Seeing this place with your very own eyes will certainly leave a lasting impression on you. We had never felt more connected to our home than right here and now, where the heart of Australia beats. After an eventful afternoon, each of us took time out to enjoy the desert in our own special little way. Phil perched himself up high to look out over the horizon, while Dave, Chris and Samantha sat together drinking wine and talking over the day's events. I just sat and watched the sunset and taking in the magic of it all. Following Burke and Wills on our motorbikes would surely be one of the greatest adventures we will ever be part of, and this adventure will live long after we've grown old and grey.
Phil, that's Big Red over there. What are you planning to do this morning?
Ego update. I've tried every track on the eastern side of Big Red except this chicken track here. It looks like it's doable. I've just started my bike. It's turned off, but I started it again. Don't want to over rev it, but it looks like everyone's ready to go. So this is my last chance of taking it on. Give it a bit of stick and see if we get up, eh?
Now let's have a look at the condition of his back tyre here. There you go. To our viewers that need to know.
It's fully inflated because I don't want to waste time inflating it back up again.
So you're fully inflated, which is
for highway.
No good for the sand. You need it soft.
No.
There's no tread there, so it's like you're taking speedway wheels up there. Maybe racing. You may as well be racing on ball bearings there. And you're going to challenge Big Red like right there.
That's it, pretty much.
Well, you heard him, folks. He's going to give it a shot. He's going to get up there and, give it his best pull. I don't know what you're thinking right now, but it's probably what I'm thinking, and that's, not looking good. Phil, your final words before you go up. That's it. A man of few words. Let's go up there and have a look at him shoot to the top.
As we watched Phil take off towards the top of Big Red, I have to admit, I thought it was a waste of time, as it would be another failed attempt. But to our surprise, Phil got up to the top and finally conquered Big Red. So that prompted Dave, who was now hooked up to the trailer, to get in his car and again take on Big Red, but this time fully loaded.
Dave's just telling me we wouldn't want to do anything insane. No, heaven forbid. It's now 25 past 8 in the morning. We're about to leave for Birdsville, but instead, Dave's decided he wants to do a chicken track in two-wheel drive, towing our trailer.
No, with four-wheel drive.
Oh, four-wheel drive. Oh, my apologies. Here we go. Racing up to the top of Big Red. Oh, gear change in the middle of that procedure, doing an outstanding job as he pushes the vehicle, revving the vehicle into the red, and he has succeeded in getting to the top of Big Red in the softest sand of the Simpson Desert. Outstanding performance from the driver. Dave, how do you feel conquering Big Red yet again?
I couldn't believe Dave conquered Big Red, fully loaded with our supplies and the trailer of doom. So it was only right that he should be presented with the Big Red flag to take home and display over his bar.
Well, Dave has earned his Big Red flag. So we're just taking it down now. And it is something that I'm sure he will display with pride back home, having taken on Big Red in a multitude of ways, in two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, with trailer on, with trailer off, with equipment on, with equipment off, daytime, nighttime, sober and drunk. Dave, it is with great pleasure, Dave, that I present you the Big Red flag. You earned it, mate.
I appreciate the flag and the memories that will go with it.
Yeah! And with that, we say goodbye to the Simpson Desert, and we say goodbye to Big Red. For me personally, I don't think I'll be coming back here. I just can't see it. But if I do, I have some great memories here that I will never ever forget, especially because I've been making videos. Now it's on to Boulia in far north Queensland.
As we rode northward to Boulia, we came across an old abandoned homestead and we stopped to take a look. This homestead was once one of the biggest cattle stations in Queensland, but when a massive drought claimed 4,000 head of cattle in the 1940s, Kidman and Co., who owned the station, shut it down, and it's been abandoned ever since. Not long after seeing that old ruined station, my bike struggled to get over 70 kilometres an hour, and Chris, who stopped me on the side of the road to quickly check what was going on, said it was due to dust having blocked my air filter. So we pushed on, and 30 minutes out of Boulia, my bike was struggling to get over 40 kilometres an hour. So Dave led us towards what looked like a farmhouse to rest for the night and give Chris a chance to clean all our air filters.
We're several kilometres, about 30 kilometres out of a town called Boulia, and we've broken down. And it's getting cold, so we needed to pull over. And we just found this little property here. No one appears to be home. But Dave said, look, because the vehicle's broken down, one of the motorbikes, we'll just have to stay here for the night. There's no one here. We've been calling out. But, you know, we're hoping someone will show up. Maybe they're working. Just walking into the place to have a look. there appears to be a shower or bathroom of some sort here. Have a look. Doesn't look like anybody has been here for a while. Have a look at this. All covered in cobwebs. But this is camp for the night.
Dave, are you sure we should stay here, man? I know Chris has got to fix the bike, man, but
It's in the middle of nowhere. There's no power to the place. There's obviously no sign that anyone's been here for like ages. Like, no, we'll be right. We'll be right.
we're at an abandoned homestead. Yeah, there's no power. We're an abandoned homestead of some sort, and we're about 30 k's out of I think it's called Bullia. What the fuck is that? Is that a brand? There's a cattle brand of some sort here. Shit. Right, listen, Sam, we didn't make those noises. I wouldn't do it to you, Sam.
Nah,
Okay.
I don't like it, George. I just don't feel comfortable here, you know, and I don't want to stay. I don't like it.
Got so much dust. My bike is basically can't go much over 40-50 k's an hour. We're only 30 k's out, but Dave is adamant that he wants to just camp here for the night, and it's true because there's a lot of animals around. We can't be driving around at night riding our bikes.
Yeah, well, if we continue on, we'll end up wrecking George's bikes. Like the air cleaners are chock-a block full. We're down to 40 kilometres an hour, and you go any harder, they're pulling fuel out of the float bowls of the carbies and running rich jazz, and that's why they're only going that speed. We've got to sort the air
Chris,
cleaners out.
I think what Sam's worried about is she doesn't want to stay here tonight. So can we fix the bikes? If we fix the bikes tonight, can we just move from here?
I don't think it's an issue. Just camp here. I know it's a bit crazy sort of joint, but why not? Just throw our swags out, and we've got a roof, and there's actually even running water.
Technical update, Chris.
Technical update: air cleaner on Phil's bike. It's got a K&N air filter, not recommended in dusty conditions, by the way, because you'll shag your motor. We went to the effort of cleaning it last night and might have over-oiled it, and now the bike won't run this morning, so we have to use Start Your Bastard, which we use as a bit of a degreaser, and to wash some of the oil out of it so we can get the bike sorted, because it's it's all choked up and it's going to slow our trip. So we're on to degreasing the air cleaner.
Morning, everybody. We've already started our trip towards Cloncurry. Today's going to be a big day for us. We still have 70 kilometres left of dirt, and after that we are on bitumen all the way. We're at the small road stop called Tajara, and from here we're heading up towards a place called Duchess, and from Duchess on to Cloncurry. So far everything's going good. We had a bit of a crappy start this morning. Had a fault with one of the bikes. It was just faulty fuse holders, but that bike's okay. And of course, you saw with Phil's bike we had a little bit too much oil in the air filter there, so that was sorted out. But apart from that, everything's good. Everybody's in good spirits. We're riding along, telling a lot of stories to each other in our helmets, and so far it's the making of a very good day. So yeah, it's good.
Finally, after 2,700 kilometres of dirt, we were back on bitumen where I feel more confident. Riding on this surface changes everything, as I could now ride at 110 kilometres without even flinching, allowing us to easily expand our daily distances from 320 kilometres a day to 600 kilometres a day. This means we'll be up north towards Burke's final camp today. Just 2 hours away from Camp 119, Burke and Wills' most northern camp, and my bike began to wobble. I'd done a bearing. Of all the spares that I had bought for the bikes, a set of bearings wasn't one of them. And now, here, on a highway in the middle of nowhere, it was over for me. After enduring nearly 2 weeks of riding in some of the most challenging conditions, why would my bike go now when we're so close? Although I'll still continue up to Camp 119 with the team, I'll be doing so riding in the recovery vehicle while my bike gets to be put in the back of the trailer where it will remain until I get back to Townsville.